Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and you guys probably recently saw I did a range report on this CMMG Banshee. This one is chambered in 9mm. Well, I got it to the range and it's time to clean it. So I'm going to take this opportunity and do a field strip video with it. Now this gun is going to field strip very much like your standard AR-15, or in this case an AR-9, but because this has the radial delay system, it comes apart just a little bit different and it has a couple of extra parts. So I want to show you that. First thing we're going to do, of course, is draw out the magazine, make sure there is no ammunition, and there is not. Then we are going to inspect the chamber, make sure there is no ammunition there, visually inspect it, we are clear and safe. Now we're going to push the rear pin through, pivot the upper, and now we can push out the pivot pin in the front, and the whole upper receiver comes off the lower receiver. You're done with that now. Then, just like an AR-15, we're going to pull the charging handle back. We can pull out the bolt and the bolt carrier and the charging handle. And now your upper is field stripped. And then to take apart the bolt, it's very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the cotter pin, just like that. And you saw that the firing pin came shooting out, and that's because it is spring loaded. And that is one of the differences between a standard AR and this particular system. Then we will rotate the cam pin, and as you notice, this cam pin is circular. So the camming surface is a little bit different. And I think this was a little bit tough to get out. Let's see. There it is, but it looks like a standard cam pin maybe on the bottom. And then the bolt will come out, and there should be a spring on the back of the bolt, and there it is. So as you guys know, this uses the radial delay system. So if you look at the locking lugs of this bolt, maybe you'll notice that there are some cutaways on the side, and that's what helps it rotate out of battery. So having a pistol caliber carbine with a rotating bolt that doesn't use a gas system is kind of interesting, and that slows down the action just enough for the pressures in the barrel to become safe. Then the gun unlocks, and you don't have to have such a heavy bolt carrier and buffer system like you do on a standard AR-9. I believe this spring should come off the back, and then if you want, you can take out the extractor just like a standard AR-15. So that pin comes out, and there is the extractor. And so that is a completely field stripped CMMG Banshee. All right, so I'm going to clean this thing up, and then we're going to reassemble it. All right, so we got this gun all cleaned up and ready to go back to mark, but now we just got to put it back together. All right, so we're going to start with the bolt. We'll install the extractor, make sure that is lined up. You got to kind of have to push that extractor in to line up the hole. Then you put in the extractor pin. It should hold under its own pressure. Then we're going to install the spring, which goes over the back of the bolt itself, and that's that special part that kind of makes it different than a standard AR-15. We will then install the bolt into the carrier, and just like putting an AR-15 back together, it is important to make sure the extractor is on the side where the ejection port is going to be. Sometimes you can install these cam pins in both directions. Sometimes you can only install them in one to prevent that from happening, but it's just something to be aware of. You could save a little time. We will then install the cam pin, and there is a little line on the cam pin, and you want that to go down straight through the carrier. So it goes from the front to the back, and that lets you know that the hole where the firing pin will go through is lined up. We will then install the firing pin, and because there is a spring on the back of that bolt, this is under pressure. So in order to put the cotter pin through, you have to put pressure on that firing pin so the channel is clear. So this can be a little bit awkward, but let's see if I can get my finger in there. All right, there we go. And now I will install the pin. There we go. And now your whole bolt carrier is back together. We'll go to the upper receiver. We will install the charging handle. Don't push it all the way in. Then you're going to put the bolt carrier in just like a standard AR-15. And even though this is a faux gas key, it will still go and fit right into that charging handle. push it all in. And you'll also notice that this carrier doesn't want to go all the way in the lock position, and that is because it is spring loaded. And that's just part of the radial delay system. It's something to note for when we put the lower receiver on. So now we're going to flip the gun over. Of course, make sure our takedown pins are open. I always want to make sure the hammer is back and the gun is on safe. We will then install the front pivot pin onto the upper receiver. Then we will hinge the gun closed, and this is where you have to be careful because you have to push the carrier forward because it's under that spring tension to get it onto the buffer. Then it closes up, and then push that last pin through, and then you can install the magazine. And then of course, just safety check the gun again, make sure there's no ammunition and the gun holds open on that magazine, and then you should be good to go. And so there you go. That is a complete field strip and reassembly of the CMMG Banshee. I believe this is the same for all of the Banshees regardless of caliber. So I hope this helps somebody in the future. So let me know if you have any questions. And as always, thanks for watching.